Robert told me he likes women and finds the thought disgusting that I shouldn't have those kinds of feelings for him. Yet every girlfriend he's found has shared at least some resemblance to me. I never said a word about it. At the birthday banquet, William asked if my feelings for his grandson were genuine. I thought for a moment, then nodded. William sighed and said that being the case, he'd give his blessing to Noah and me. Robert shot to his feet, eyes wide with disbelief. "My brother?" he stammered. Chapter 1. At the birthday party, Robert brought his new girlfriend. She was tall with fair skin and a small red mole on the tip of her nose in the exact same spot as mine. This was the 15th girl who resembled me. Under the dazzling lights, Robert had his arm around her waist as he announced with a smile. "This is Jennifer. Beautiful, isn't she? Took me a whole month to win her over. You'd better start calling her your sister-in-law." Everyone laughed. I sat in the corner, head propped on one hand, swirling my drink with the other. My friend John came over and patted my shoulder. "Mason, don't take it too hard." I looked up, pointing at myself. "Me? Yeah, you don't have to put on a brave face. Everyone can tell Robert has at least some feelings for you. Look, this one looks like you too. He just hasn't gotten over that mental hurdle yet, hasn't accepted it. Just give him some time, he'll come around eventually." I glanced at the man sitting in the shadows on the other side of the room and let out a laugh at the absurdity. This was the umpteenth time I tried to explain. Actually, whatever Robert does has nothing to do with me. Really, nothing at all. John patted me again, nodding knowingly. "I get it, a man's pride and all that. Just don't let it get to you too much." With that, he got up and left. Another failed explanation. I was used to it by now. I took a sip of whiskey, and before long, someone sat down next to me. I glanced at the drink in his hand and clicked my tongue in disapproval. "Didn't I tell you to cut back on drinking? If your condition flares up, I'm not taking care of you." I lightly kicked his shin with my toe, took his low-alcohol drink, and slowly sipped from where his lips had been. Noah chuckled softly, brushing the back of his hand against my leg. He said in a low voice, "Like you could ever bear to not take care of me. I'm kind of bored, want to head out early?" Suddenly, all the lights went out, plunging the room into darkness. Before the birthday candles were lit, Noah leaned in and brushed his lips against mine. The cake was wheeled in front of Robert, and everyone gathered around him to sing happy birthday, everyone except Noah and me, still sitting in our corner. I nodded. Agreed. Let's leave in a bit. When the song ended and the applause died down, the lights suddenly came back on, making me squint. Several people called out my name, and John pulled me into the center of the crowd. Right across from me were Robert and his girlfriend. Robert smiled at me. "Mason, you weren't here earlier, you haven't wished me happy birthday yet." The girl looked between me and Robert, her expression somewhat strange. John gave me a knowing look, probably signaling me to seize the moment. After a brief silence, I put on my usual smile and pulled out an elegant little gift box from my pocket. "Happy birthday, Robert." The gift I'd chosen was a star brooch. Robert took it and his eyes lit up when he opened it. Then, as if remembering something, he looked up and said, "Thanks. This brooch is really beautiful. But I think it suits Jennifer better. You wouldn't mind if I gave it to her, would you?" An awkward silence fell over the room. I nodded. "Of course not. Once I've given it to you, it's yours to do with as you please." Hearing this, Robert immediately pinned the brooch to the girl's dress and kissed her passionately in front of everyone. The room erupted with applause and cheering again. I took the opportunity to push through the crowd back to my corner, meeting Noah's gaze. "Let's go. Time to head home." As soon as we got home, Noah pressed me against the wall and kissed me. He pulled my shirt out from my pants, his large warm palms sliding up my back. I let him kiss me for a while before laughingly wrapping my arms around him. "What's gotten into you?" This 6'3" man rested his head on my shoulder, pouting. "I'm jealous. You were too good to Robert before. Everyone thinks you like him. And now he's found another girlfriend who looks like you. He just hasn't gotten over that mental hurdle yet. I'm upset. I need compensation." I caught his hand that was wandering toward my side and pinched it in mock annoyance. "Stop acting cute. He invited me to his birthday party. It would have been rude not to bring a gift. Besides, what are you jealous about? You're the one who prepared that gift. You wouldn't let me pick it myself. You had to choose what I'd give your brother. Noah's hand found its way back into my shirt. I'm still unhappy. My husband keeps getting mistaken for having feelings for someone else. His palm roamed across my back, threatening to venture lower. I suspected he was just using this as an excuse to get handsy. I did try to explain. It's not my fault. You and he both have the last name Smith. That's the real source of the confusion, I said. Noah kissed me again, and I turned my head. Why don't we just go public? As for your grandfather, I'll find a way to get him to agree. But it wasn't that simple. William was stubborn and unyielding. Noah was the heir he'd personally groomed to lead the company, with high expectations riding on him. William tolerated his younger grandson Robert's playboy lifestyle only because his older grandson Noah was holding everything together. Liking men would definitely cause a huge uproar. And right now, Noah still needed his grandfather's support. Worst case scenario, I'll be the wastrel and let Robert be the company president. Noah murmured against my skin. I laughed softly. What grudge do you have against the company? Forget whether William would agree to put Robert in charge. The company would probably go under in no time. I held him close. No rush. We'll take our time. My phone dinged with a message from Robert. Why'd you leave? I replied. Went home. I barely had time to glance at it before Noah pressed the screen dark. His kisses came down in a flurry, and I couldn't spare another thought for messages. Chapter 2. I'm a year older than Robert, and William had done my family a great favor. Following my parents' instructions, I looked after Robert with extra care. Robert was willful and prone to causing trouble, and more often than not, I was the one cleaning up his messes. He relied on me too, sometimes calling me to take him to the hospital in the middle of the night when he had a fever. Over time, somehow, rumors started to spread. A year and a half ago, during a game of Truth or Dare, someone asked if I was into guys, and I openly admitted it. Many people excitedly shifted their gazes between Robert and me. Robert's expression stiffened. Then someone asked if the person I liked had the surname Smith, and I nodded again. Ha, I knew it, the person said. Mason likes Robert. Robert suddenly cut in. You're gay. He frowned with a look of disgust. That's so sick. The room went quiet. I just smiled indifferently. Eventually, someone awkwardly tried to smooth things over and changed the subject. That night, Robert found me and said he wasn't into guys, told me not to have those dirty thoughts about him, and that we could still be friends. I told him seriously that he was overthinking it. While I liked men, I had zero interest in him. He snorted coldly. You'd better not. After that, Robert started dating girls constantly, making a big show of introducing each one. Strangely though, every girlfriend bore some resemblance to me, and none of the relationships lasted long. He also liked to flirt and kiss these girls right in front of me. It seemed more like a performance than genuine affection. Though I didn't understand his behavior, I said nothing. Someone told me, you're not without a chance. Deep down, Robert still likes you. Go for it. I denied it 10 times, denied it for a year and a half, practically swore to heaven, but no one believed me. It was frustrating. Yes, I liked a man with the surname Smith, but I liked his brother. At 10 that night, a sudden phone ringtone pulled me back from my thoughts. Noah placed the phone within my reach. Answer it. It's Robert. This man sometimes enjoyed these little twisted games. I answered. Hello. Mason, need a favor, came Robert's voice. Regal Hotel, room 2305. Bring me a box of ultra-thin ones. My voice caught mid-word as I quickly shut my mouth and glared up at Noah. Mason? Came Robert's confused voice from the phone. Noah smiled, leaned down to kiss me a couple times, and took the phone. Little bro, just use a delivery service. Mason's not really available right now. I raised my hand to bite down on my palm, trying to stay quiet. Noah's eyes gleamed with amusement, though his tone remained calm. Don't jump to conclusions. Mason just sprained his ankle, hurts to walk. I saw he'd had too much to drink, so I gave him a ride home and stayed for a bit. Don't worry, I'll take good care of him. You do your thing. I was baffled. How could this man lie so smoothly for that long without batting an eye? It was practically a gift. After hanging up, Noah leaned down and bit my ear. We're almost out at home too. Next time I'll have Robert deliver some. How about that? His ideas were too outrageous. I turned my head and kissed him to shut him up. The next morning, the doorbell and Noah's movements woke me up. I turned over in his arms and pushed away the hand he'd placed on my leg. Someone's at the door. Go answer it. Noah kissed my face. Who could it be this early? Probably just a delivery. They'll leave soon. I pushed his hand away a second time, keeping his arm around my waist, and mumbled drowsily, "What if it's your grandfather?" Noah suddenly pulled me close and started tickling me. That'd be perfect good time for him to meet his grandson-in-law. I couldn't stand the tickling and kicked him away, laughing. Stop it. The door keeps ringing. Go see who it is. Someone might actually need you. Noah pointed at me twice, threw on a pair of pants, and went out shirtless. After he closed the door, I burrowed back under the covers. Soon, I heard Robert's voice outside. Bro, what took you so long? My legs went numb standing here. What happened to your back? Those scratches. What was Robert doing here? Noah didn't answer directly. What brings you by so early? Where's your girlfriend? Jennifer has class this morning. I got my jacket dirty last night and the mall's not open yet. I figured you lived nearby, so I came to borrow an outfit. Sure. Some rustling sounds. Robert must have come in. By the way, you said Mason sprained his ankle yesterday. How bad is it? I called him this morning, but he didn't pick up. I felt under the pillow for my phone. Sure enough, 2 missed calls. Noah chuckled. Not bad. He's pretty lively. When I was putting medicine on it, I must have hurt him because he scratched me. Almost made me want to smack him. You've barely ever helped anyone with injuries. You probably didn't know your own strength. When I get a chance, I should go check on him. Robert's voice grew closer, clearly heading toward the bedroom. Get clothes from the guest room. The clothes you keep in the guest room are definitely old. I don't want those. The next second, the door handle turned slightly. That bastard Noah, how could he let Robert walk in? What was I supposed to do? Wrap myself in the blanket and say good morning, then ask if he'd like to stay for breakfast? Just then, Noah's lazy voice rang out. Your sister-in-law was exhausted last night and is still sleeping. It wouldn't be appropriate for you to go in. The door handle immediately snapped back, followed by Robert's shocked voice. You brought someone home? Are you serious about this? What kind of question is that? When have I ever not been serious? When I've decided on someone, I hold on tight. Not like you, going through 15 people in a year. Robert laughed awkwardly and said nothing more. He didn't stay long. He grabbed the clothes and left quickly. Chapter 3. When Noah came in, I'd already washed up and gotten dressed. Shirtless. He pressed me against the cabinet door with a mischievous grin. Babe, was that exciting? Were you scared enough to want to hide? I stepped on his foot with zero expression on my face. He yelped and jumped back. Not really. If he'd actually come in, he'd be the one freaking out, not me. I hooked my finger through his waistband and pulled him back to me, planting a kiss on his jaw. And then word would spread through the entire Smith household, including your grandfather. So, sweetheart, are you ready to face that? Noah wrapped his arms around me and swayed us side to side. I've been ready forever, just waiting for you to say yes. Hey, Grandpa's 75th birthday dinner is in 3 days. You coming? William had always been good to May. Should definitely go. I have class that afternoon, but I'll head over right after. Noah kissed the tip of my nose. Perfect. I'll pick you up from campus. The party was on Friday, and by the time class ended, it was almost 5. As I walked downstairs from the academic building, a few students cornered me asking about exam topics. I tapped each of them on the head. You all don't pay attention in class, and now you're asking? I already went over the scope and key points. Professor Mason. I looked up to find Robert standing a few steps away. I dismissed my students and gave him a nod. As I turned to leave, he stopped me again. How's your foot? Why wouldn't you let me visit you? You really don't need to avoid me like this. I know you can't return my feelings, but we're still friends, aren't we? Had I not been clear enough? Or was he just not getting it? How many times had I told him I didn't like him? Did he just refuse to hear it? I took a step back and noticed he was wearing the constellation pin I'd given him on his shirt. Did you come here for something? You're not here specifically to see me, right? Robert froze for a moment. Of course not. I'm here to pick up Jennifer for Grandpa's birthday. Before he could finish, a bubbly girl threw herself into his arms, then immediately straightened up and greeted me. Hi, Professor Mason. I only found out later that you teach here. Sorry I didn't say hello before. I shook my head. You're from the art school, right? It's totally normal not to know people from different departments. Don't worry about it. Robert took Jennifer's hand. We're heading to Grandpa's now. Are you going? Want a ride? I quickly declined, saying I'd come later. No way was I going to watch them being affectionate in front of Mayhaid actually do it too, without any sense of awkwardness. Robert frowned, like he wanted to say something but didn't. After a long pause, long enough that even Jennifer was looking at him strangely, finally snapped out of it. All right then. See you tonight. Robert put his arm around the girl and turned to leave, but they ran into Noah within a few steps. Hey bro, what are you doing on campus? Noah said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Picking up your sister-in-law. Robert looked surprised. You're dating a student? Didn't see that Kaming didn't know you were into younger women. Not exactly. Noah glanced at me with a smile, the corner of his mouth lifting. I'll bring her by tonight so you can meet her. I walked over to stand under a nearby tree. After Robert and Noah exchanged a few words, Robert left with his arm around Jennifer. Noah came over to me, the setting sun filtering through the leaves and casting dappled shadows across his face. He looked beautiful. I smiled at him and he raised an eyebrow. Why are you staring at me like that? Stunned by how handsome I am. He took the lesson plans from my hands, and I smoothed down the hem of his suit jacket. Yep. So handsome I can't see anyone else around me. Well, obviously. Look who picked him. We walked side by side toward the campus exit, the setting sun stretching our shadows long behind us. Took us about an hour to get to the house. William didn't like making a big fuss, so the birthday celebration was just a family dinner. Noah's parents, who were abroad, hadn't even come back. When we arrived, Robert was already there. Seeing me and Noah walk in together, his expression shifted slightly. You two came together? I nodded. We ran into each other on campus. Since we were heading the same way, we came together. He made a small sound of acknowledgement, then looked around behind us. When he didn't see anyone else, he asked Noah curiously, Bro, didn't you say you were bringing your girlfriend? Where is she? I secretly pinched Noah. He just smiled mysteriously, ignoring my subtle protest. Just then, the food was ready and everyone had arrived. The butler called us all to the table. During dinner, William first asked us young people about how we were doing, then dove into business talk with Noah. I quietly ate my meal. Suddenly, William changed the subject and looked at Robert. Robert, this is the first time you've brought a girlfriend to meet me. You're not getting any younger. It's time to think about settling down. Jennifer's parents founded Chinyu Technology, which has great potential. You two are well matched. When do you think we should arrange for both families to meet and have the parents discuss things? The implication was clear. William approved of Jennifer and wanted Robert and Jennifer to get engaged. Jennifer looked a bit shy, her face flushed as she glanced at Robert. But Robert froze, and his first instinct was to look at me. I picked up a piece of beef, my face expressionless. He lowered his head and said vaguely, Grandpa, it's still early. Jennifer and I want to date a little longer. When the time is right, I'll arrange it. Jennifer's smile slowly stiffened, but she went along with him. That's right, Grandpa William. We'd like to date a bit longer. There was a strain in her voice. William nodded and didn't push the topic further. But the next moment he turned to me. Mason, I've watched you grow up. You've always been mature and level-headed, with your own mind about things much better than Robert in that regard. Once you've made up your mind about something, you don't change it. I can probably guess the answer, but I still need to ask. The relationship you've chosen, even if it means facing misunderstanding, criticism, and condemnation from others, will you still hold firm? After all, this affects both your future and the Smith families. The table fell silent. Robert's head jerked up to stare at me. At that moment, a hand gently patted my thigh. It was Noah, conveying reassurance and affirmation. I thought for a moment, took a deep breath, and gripped Noah's hand in return. Then I looked solemnly at William and nodded. Yes, I'm sorry for any trouble this causes you, but I can't choose anyone else. Noah smiled softly, his grip on my hand tightening. Robert also stared at me, his expression complicated. William sighed. If that's the case, then I approve of you and Noah. Robert suddenly shot to his feet, his chair scraping harshly against the floor. His eyes wide with disbelief, he practically shouted, "Him and who? My brother." Robert's reaction caught everyone off guard, and the atmosphere immediately became awkward. He stood there for several seconds, his eyes reddening as he stared at Noah and me. What kind of behavior is this? When will you ever learn to be more composed? William was getting angry, but Robert still didn't move. Finally, Jennifer pulled him back down into his seat. His fists were clenched tight against the table, his gaze never leaving me. Noah placed a piece of fish in my bowl. Have some fish. See if you like it. I do. Next time I'll make it for you. No longer hiding anything, I smiled back and ate the fish. Robert's face darkened. He stayed silent the rest of the evening, not even responding when Jennifer tried to talk to him. Chapter 4. After dinner, William headed upstairs to rest while Noah and I said our goodbyes. We'd barely made it out of the courtyard when Robert came charging after us, blocking my path. His chest heaved as he stood there, looking absolutely furious. Through gritted teeth he spat, "Mason, are you that desperate for a man? Can't have me, so you move on to my brother? Have you no shame?" The next moment, Robert's face snapped to the side from a punch. Noah stepped in front of me, his voice ice cold. "Robert, have I been too easy on you? Now you can't even speak like a decent human being? Apologize." Robert slowly straightened up, running his tongue over his bruised cheek, his expression dark. "What am I wrong?" I pulled Noah back a step before he could lose it completely, patting his back to let him know I'd handle this. I met Robert's bloodshot eyes. "Yes, you're wrong. I never wanted you. From the very beginning, I've always liked your brother. I've told everyone countless times that I don't have feelings for you because it's the truth. Do you believe me now?" Robert's face went deathly pale. He stood frozen for a long moment. But what? I cut him off. "What exactly are you upset about? I never liked you. Should that make you happy? You've told me over and over not to have any ideas about you, and I don't. Isn't that exactly what you wanted? Noah and I have mutual feelings for each other. We're in love. On what grounds are you questioning us? Or is it that you've actually been harboring the very feelings you claim to despise?" I'll admit my words were harsh, almost cruel, but it was the only way to make everything clear once and for all. Everyone else could see his subconscious feelings. Of course I could too. I just hadn't seen any need to call him out on it before. Robert stood there speechless, transformed from a raging madman into a confused, lost child. After a long silence, I took Noah's hand. "Let's go." Noah wrapped his arm around my waist and walked past Robert with his head held high, adding, "That brooch, I picked it out. It suits you." The streetscape flew by outside the car window as I propped my head against the glass. Noah pulled my hand over and held it. "What are you thinking about?" I turned to look at his sharp profile. "I'm wondering how you convinced William. Why didn't you tell me beforehand? I thought we'd have a real fight on our hands, but he agreed so easily." "Noah, you must have done something. If I'd told you, you definitely wouldn't have agreed." He steered with one hand, relaxed against his seat, while his other hand gently played with my fingers. "It was nothing really. I just knelt in front of him for 3 hours and told him I had to have you, that I wouldn't marry anyone else. As for the Smith heir, there's always Robert. It doesn't have to be me. What if he hadn't agreed? Then I'd have had to elope with you. Can't help it, I am a hopeless romantic." Pinched him. "Weren't you afraid you'd give William a heart attack?" Noah winced and pulled his leg back, placating me by stroking the back of my hand. "No way, I know my limits. The old man's healthy as a horse. Besides, I had a whole team of doctors waiting outside the door just in case." I didn't know what to say to this man. Though he'd brushed it off with just a few words, I knew there must have been lengthy arguments and negotiations, that it probably hadn't been pretty nowhere near as simple as he made it sound. I didn't press him. I just looked at him intently, at this man who always put me first. A minute later, I expressionlessly swatted his wandering hand away from my inner thigh and pinched him again. Focus on driving. You almost ran that red light. By the time we got home and settled in for the night, it was nearly midnight. I was curled up in Noah's arms, not quite asleep yet, when my phone screen suddenly lit up through the pillow crack. I answered. Hello. Thank God you picked up. I thought you were asleep. It was John. Robert's at the bar, drunk off his ass, making a scene and calling your name. What happened? Did you two fight? Can you come get him? I'd expected this. Whenever Robert was upset, he'd go get wasted at a bar. Try his girlfriend Jennifer would be more appropriate. Dude, you think I didn't try? John said. You have no idea Jennifer was like a different person. She showed up in heels and full makeup, grabbed Robert and slapped him twice, told him it was over just like that, and walked out. I was stunned. Noah let out a muffled laugh and said quietly, Serves him right. Jennifer had heard every word of our conversation with Robert after the banquet from outside the door. She was a good girl if Robert really had just been using her as a substitute. Those 2 slaps were well deserved. Ugh, he's throwing up again. Mason, can you please come get him? I really can't carry him, and if I don't get home soon, my mom's gonna cancel my credit card. Plus, he keeps saying your name. This is your big chance, man. Noah made a disapproving sound, not bothering to lower his voice. Is someone there with you? John asked. Yeah, Noah and I are together, I answered. Holy shit! Came an explosive curse from the other end, followed by silence. Clearly he was in shock, trying to process this information. After thinking for a moment, I had him send me the address, then hung up. Noah tilted my chin up, his tone dangerous. What? Planning to pick up another man in the middle of the night, right in front of your husband? I shoved my phone screen in his face. Your brother. Have your driver pick him up. Noah pulled me close and kissed me, laughing as he took the phone. Knew my baby wouldn't abandon me. Then he called the driver and asked him to safely take Robert home and let us know once it was done. Chapter 5. The next day was Saturday. Noah had a habit of running 10K every morning. After he spent 10 minutes kissing and hugging me, I'd lost any hope of getting back to sleep. Once he left, I lingered in bed another half hour before finally getting up. I just finished washing up and was about to head downstairs to take out the trash when I spotted a disheveled figure crouched by the door. Robert's body stiffened slightly. He slowly lifted his head to look at me. His eyes were shadowed with dark circles, the whites threaded with red veins, and stubble had sprouted along his jaw. He looked exhausted, like he'd been up all night. So you really are here. He managed a weak smile. I knocked on your door for half an hour. No one answered. I kept wondering if you didn't want to see me, or if you genuinely weren't home. If you weren't there, where would you be? I came here, but I couldn't bring myself to knock. I was afraid when the door opened. He paused, dragging his hand down his face. Mason, that was you in the bedroom that day too, wasn't it? Robert's voice carried a tremor, his eyes pleading, begging me to deny what he suspected. I let out a soft breath. Yes. For a moment Robert couldn't speak. He lowered his head, a faint sound escaping his throat. Self-mockery. Maybe, or something else. After a while he slowly stood up. Can I come in? Just to talk. I stepped aside to let him through, then poured him a glass of water and sat down on the opposite couch. He still reeked of alcohol, his shirt wrinkled all over. Robert picked up the glass and took a sip. I spent all night thinking, and I finally figured some things out. I owe you an apology. He straightened up slightly. A long time ago I said it was disgusting that you liked men. And yesterday all those things I said without thinking. I am sorry. I let my emotions get the better of me. The apology was sincere. I smiled. It's fine. I haven't really dwelled on it. The people you should be apologizing to are Jennifer and all those other girls you've hurt. Some of them genuinely cared about you. They weren't after your money. Robert lowered his head. I know. I will. He fell silent for a moment before continuing. Mason, remember sophomore year when we went hiking in the mountains? I broke my leg. There was no signal, and you carried me down step by step. And when I had that high fever at 4 a.m. during graduation, you rushed to my place, dragged me out of bed, and took me to the hospital. You stayed with me through the 4 drip until my fever broke. You've been so good to me, Really good. He'd spent all night trying to understand. If you didn't have any feelings for me at all, why would you do all that? Robert cautiously lifted his head, a glimmer of hope clearly visible in his eyes. I finished the last half cup of tea, silently sighing to myself, feeling somewhat helpless. That hiking trip there were 3 of us. You, me, and John. You broke your leg, and either John or I had to carry you down. But with his scrawny arms and legs, he'd probably have rolled straight down the mountain with you. For safety's sake, I had to be the one to carry you, while he served as our cheerleading accessory dangling alongside. As for the fever incident, you called me first saying you felt terrible. I told you to have your driver take you to the hospital. You refused, so I came over. Honestly, if it had been John with the fever, I would have done the same thing. I did look after you more, yes, but that's because William helped my family with a loan once, and my parents specifically asked me to. Everything I did stayed within the bounds of friendship. There was nothing inappropriate about it. The only thing that might have crossed a line was that truth or dare game when I admitted I liked a guy with the last name Smith. For certain reasons, Noah and I haven't made our relationship public. I'm sorry that caused confusion. I explained everything clearly, word by word. Robert's lips trembled slightly. After a long daze, he shook his head with self-mockery. So I've been the delusional fool all along. Just then, the door clicked open with a clack. Noah's deep voice came from the doorway. Babe, I'm back. Got you those crab soup dumplings you love from that place. Noah walked in and saw Robert, raising an eyebrow. You're here bright and early to pay your respects to your sister-in-law? I got up and took the dumplings from his hands, passing him a clean towel. Wipe off your sweat first. Robert had been silent since Noah walked in. Noah casually wiped his hair and forehead, then naturally and quickly kissed me. Eat them while they're hot. I'm gonna grab a quick shower. With that, he headed to the bedroom and into the bathroom. I sat back down with breakfast, hesitated for a moment, then held the plastic bag out toward Robert. Want one? Robert stared at the dumplings for a long while but made no move to take them. Suit yourself. I started eating on my own. I never knew you liked crab soup dumplings, he said. That's because I never told you. I swallowed a bite of dumpling. Robert's expression turned deeply dejected, tinged with loneliness and maybe jealousy. How did you and my brother get together? I finished one dumpling and wiped my mouth with a napkin. I seduced him. Wet body temptation, that's basically what happened. After saving that little girl from drowning, I got into his car to borrow some clothes. How could that not count as wet body seduction? Robert froze completely, his eyes unblinking. I waved my hand in front of his face. Was that really that shocking? Robert snapped out of it, dragged his hand down his face, and seemed to make some kind of decision. He took a deep breath. Mason, I regret it. I was blind and stupid. I never saw myself clearly. If I'd realized sooner, if I hadn't said those things, would you have? There are no ifs in this world, especially not when facing established facts. I cut him off. Chapter 6. Noah came out freshly showered and dressed, settling beside me with that clean, post-bath freshness. Robert, I've taught you this before. You're an adult now, and a Smith at that. Everything you do needs to carry dignity and decency except when it comes to your wife. You spent the whole night hungover, and you show up looking like death warmed over to see your sister-in-law? That's not playing the sympathy card. That's just plain rude. And another thing, trying to steal my partner? Bold move, but frankly stupid and laughable. Look at yourself. What exactly makes you worth a second glance? That bird's nest on your head? Or those bloodshot eyes that make you look like a homeless guy? Robert's neck went red, and he looked like he desperately wanted to argue back. His face flushed crimson, but not a single word came out. Noah stood up and grabbed his car keys. I'm taking you home now. Get yourself cleaned up and looking human first. Then we can have an actual conversation. When Noah got serious, he could be genuinely intimidating, had that authoritative presence. Robert must have known he was in the wrong. He clenched his fists, pressed his lips together, and obediently lowered his head before walking toward the door. Noah leaned down and, like a Sichuan opera face change artist, broke into a smile and kissed my cheek. Be good, baby. I'll be right back. Noah wasn't gone long. He hadn't even gotten through half an hour of my documentary when he returned. He tossed off his jacket and pulled me face to face onto his lap, burying his face in my chest and nuzzling around endlessly. I grabbed the back of his neck and pulled him up. "Quit it." He grinned and kissed me. I swatted the back of his head with a laugh. "Get lost." Noah pulled me into his arms, chuckling. "Wanna know what Robert said in the car? He said he wants to compete with me fairly, that he's going to pursue you, and that he'd regret it for the rest of his life if he didn't try." "Oh, really?" "He also said he doesn't think he's any worse than me." Noah gave my side a squeeze. I thought I'd been pretty clear. "So what did you say?" I told him the alcohol must have fried his brain last night and suggested he see a doctor. What kind of delusion makes him think he's better than me? His rock-bottom IQ? Trying to steal my husband not happening in this lifetime or the next. Noah pulled me onto the couch, raining kisses down on me. Our body heat rose, and I melted into that burning tenderness. As it turned out, Robert wasn't just talk. He actually took action, and he was unbelievably persistent. When I was at work, he'd camp out downstairs by the academic building, showing up every day with different pastries. When I wasn't working, he'd find ways to send gifts, sometimes rare collector's books, sometimes men's accessories. Of course, I returned everything. One time, I found him leaning against a tree with a black eye and swollen face, even what looked like high heel marks on his cheeks. He looked pretty pathetic. "Did you get jumped?" I asked. He scratched his head. "Just ran into Jennifer and her girl squad. Didn't get away in time. But never mind that." He pulled a bag of broken steamed buns from his insulated carrier, juice leaking everywhere. "I brought you soup dumplings. Try them. They probably broke when I got hit just now." "Weird. I thought I protected them really well." He kept checking the bag, looking flustered. I stayed quiet for a long time, then my expression turned serious. "Robert, what exactly are you trying to do?" I asked. "I don't need any of the stuff you've been sending, and I don't need these 2 buns either." He froze for a second, then said, "Just friendly concern. I'm not an idiot." I looked him straight in the eye. Seeing how serious I was, Robert dropped the joking around too, though with his swollen face he still looked kind of ridiculous. "I like you. I'm pursuing you," he said. "If you like men, why can't it be me?" "What kind of twisted logic is that?" I laughed in disbelief. "Just because I like men means I have to like every man on the planet? And let me correct you on something, I like men because I like Noah, who happens to be a man. Does that make sense to you?" Robert had nothing to say. "I remember you once told me not to bother you or you'd find it annoying," I continued. "So have you considered that when I have a boyfriend, you doing all this bothers me? Or let me be even more blunt, Robert, there's no chance for us. You spending your energy on me is a complete waste of time." I didn't leave any room for interpretation. I just wanted to end this absurd farce. Robert slowly lowered his hands and stopped talking. I turned to leave, but after just a few steps, I heard him shout, "Mason, I won't give up on you. I'll make you change your mind." Change my mind about what? I thought to myself. Maybe I should just have Noah bury him. Noah, on the other hand, didn't care one bit about his brother's antics. He had absolute confidence in himself. Except at night, then it became his excuse to push his luck. "What? He came looking for you again today? I'm very unhappy. He sent you more stuff? I'm jealous. You talked to him for 2 whole sentences today. You need to make it up to me properly." Lines like these left me exhausted both mentally and physically, to the point where I wanted to dig a hole and bury both him and Robert in it. Chapter 7. Before Robert's situation could be resolved, a new storm erupted. Just as the Smith Group's board meeting was about to convene, news of Noah and me suddenly broke. Noah was painted by certain individuals as a dissolute playboy who spent his days partying, neglecting his duties, and entangled with men. I knew this wasn't Robert's doing, wouldn't stoop to such a crude tactic to sow discord. In an empire as vast as the Smith Group, there were always people harboring dark intentions who, unable to bring Noah down through legitimate means, resorted to underhanded methods. The internet exploded with criticism, and the company's reputation took a nosedive. People with too much time on their hands have an endless appetite for this kind of high society gossip. They gleefully dug up everything about Mimi: real name, employment information, entire background. When colleagues messaged asking if I was really involved with the Smith Group CEO, I admitted it frankly. Robert also called anxiously, telling me not to worry and that he'd arranged to have the trending topics taken down immediately. Before I could get a word in, he'd already hung up in his rush. What's the hurry? I thought to myself. Just as I expected, 10 minutes later, Noah released a statement. My love is a man. He's exceptional, and being with him is my honor. I'm proposing tonight, wish me luck. Not only did the trending topic stay up, but new related hashtags instantly shot to the top. The internet was ablaze with all kinds of commentary, and I was bombarded with messages. To save myself the headache, I let Noah know and turned off my phone. When Noah came home that evening, I helped him towel dry his freshly washed, still dripping hair. How badly is this affecting the company? Noah pulled me into his arms and kissed me twice. Don't worry. The Smith Group has survived this long because of our products, not the CEO's romantic scandals. Besides, I just fell in love with someone. If there's no scheme, nothing illegal about it. This is just some pathetic attempt by those old fossils to force me out. By the way, did you see my statement? I set the towel aside and picked up the hairdryer to dry his hair. I saw it. So, do you agree? I blinked innocently, playing dumb. Agree to what? Noah snatched the hairdryer from me and turned it off. To getting married. I raised an eyebrow, took a step back, and looked him up and down, stroking my chin thoughtfully. This is a major life decision. I need to think about it. Without another word, Noah pulled a ring box from his coat hanging on the chair back. Like a bandit, he took out the ring and slipped it on my finger, then possessively pulled me into his embrace. Nothing to think about. You have to say yes. You've been mine all along anyway, the kind where even our ashes get mixed together after we die. My laughter was muffled against his chest, carrying a burning warmth. I hugged him back and softly replied, okay. The next day, William held a press conference and delivered a 10-minute speech. In plain terms, his message was, my grandson is dating Mason. I'm happy and supportive. This isn't something shameful, so who does it hurt? The company has identified those deliberately steering negative public opinion and has evidence of their embezzlement, bribery, and other illegal activities. You come after my grandson, I'll send you to prison. The paid trolls leading the attacks suddenly went silent, and increasingly positive comments emerged. Did you guys notice that Mason is a professor at B University? Top-tier undergrad, master's, and PhD all at a prestigious school. Then stayed on as faculty. That's incredible. Of course, equally outstanding people attract each other. Professor Mason is a good person. 2 years ago, my daughter accidentally fell into a river, and Professor Mason risked his own life to save her. He's truly a good man. Please stop attacking him. Commenter above, I was there too. So that was Professor Mason who saved her. Angel Professor Mason, you and Mr. Smith must be happy together. They say the waters run deep in wealthy families, but this is the first time I actually hope two people can really make it work. I'm shipping you two forever. In an instant, public opinion reversed. Sales of Smith Group products surged, breaking historical records. Chapter 8. For every person who rejoices, there's someone who grieves. First, there were those with ulterior motives who tried to seize power through underhanded means. They were now genuinely facing bribery charges and would spend the next 10 years having their meals and lodging provided for in quite a different way. Second, there was Robert. Word had it that after learning I'd accepted Noah's proposal, he went back to the bar and drank himself into oblivion, sobbing his heart out while cursing himself as worthless, unable to even take down a simple trending topic. He was so devastated he couldn't even lift his head. After 2 days of heavy drinking, he sent me a message. Congratulations. I won't bother you anymore. I didn't reply. Some things just needed to end there. Before long, Robert told his family he was going abroad to study, saying he didn't want to be a trust fund kid anymore. Noah and I went to see him off the day he left. We hadn't seen him in half a month, and he really had changed. The whole guy seemed much more grounded. He didn't say anything, yet somehow it felt like he'd said everything. Perhaps when he returned from studying abroad, Robert wouldn't be the same Robert anymore. Mr. Smith, you can't stand so closey or wrinkling the clothes. Mr. Smith, You're kissing too hard we can't even see your mouths. Mr. Smith, loosen up a bit, Yuri, throwing off Professor Mason's posture. After shouting like this several times, the photographer set down his camera with a look of complete despair, looking like he wanted to smash the thing. You couldn't blame him. Noah really was being excessive. Who clings to their partner like a bandit kidnapping a bride during wedding photos? At first, the photographer tried to be tactful out of respect for Noah's status, gently reminding him. After dozens of reminders went nowhere, he resorted to physically adjusting their poses himself. But as soon as he'd get them positioned just right and step back to his shooting spot, Noah would glue himself right back on. Eventually, the photographer started wailing in frustration. I suggested we take a break. Noah sidled up to me with a pitiful expression. Honey, he yelled at me. I kept pushing his head away. What are you doing? Can't you act normal? I am being normal. This is exactly how we hug and kiss all the time. But this is for photos. So what? Aren't photos supposed to capture reality? No, photos are supposed to look good. Seeing my exasperated look, Noah twisted his body and pouted. So basically you just think I'm too much, that I love too hard, can't control myself when I'm near you. Don't know when to rein it in, just want to kiss and hold you the second I see you. You think I'd had enough. I grabbed his tie, pulled him close, and shut him up with my lips. The instant our lips met, the photographer hit the shutter button and finally let out a satisfied sound of approval. Yes, that's it. That's the vibe. The aloof professor and the domineering CEO's passionate love. Noah waved him over. Come here, let me get a good look at this. The photographer scurried over excitedly. Look at Professor Mason's posture, so commanding, he said, pointing at the camera screen. Combined with that expression and the lighting. Oh my God, we cannot delete this shot. The photographer clutched his camera and bolted. Noah took off after him. What the hell did you even shoot? We can't keep that. Quick, grab that stupid camera. I stood there watching them chase each other around, laughing. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, warm and golden. Life is really good right now, and it's only going to get better.
Si te gustó esta historia, por favor haz clic en suscribir a mi canal.